Hi guys, it's Miss Navarro, and I have a story today called Traveler's All. It's a story of how seeds travel. So we're learning about plants and seeds this week, and I want to take a look at this because I'm going to ask you guys to create your own colored worksheet of 4 different ways you can think of how seeds travel. So listen closely to the story because the story is going to give us some hints as to how seeds travel. So this is by Irma E. Weber. Travelers All, the story of how plants go places. Do you know that plants are travelers too? Most plants stay in the same spot from the time they begin to grow until they die. But the next season, you may find many of them growing in brand new places. How do they travel to their new homes? Some plants travel by land. The poppy plant has a seed pod which opens near the top. When the wind blows, the pod is tipped or shaken and the seeds fall to the ground. Right where they fall, some of those seeds will grow into new poppy plants. The seeds of the wild oat can wiggle or jump along the ground. They have curly tails when they are dry. When it rains, their tails straighten out. The sun dries them and they curl up again. Each time the tails change shape, the seeds wiggle and jump a little way along the ground. So you can see when they're wet, they have a straight tail. When they are dry, they have a curly tail. And they wiggle and jump around the ground. Strawberry plants send out runners along the ground. New plants grow out of these runners. When plants travel this way, they do not go very far. Heavy fruits like apples drop to the ground. Sometimes they stay right under the tree. Sometimes they bounce or roll away, and the seeds start to grow quite a distance away from the tree. See how far it is from the tree? Some plants are better suited for travel by water than by land. The lotus is a kind of water lily. It grows in the shallow parts of lakes with its roots in the mud. Its seed pods have large air spaces that make them light enough to float. When the pods drop into the water, they often ferry their seeds clear across the lake. See the pods floating. Coconuts are sometimes water travelers too. When a coconut palm grows along the ocean shore, some of the nuts or seeds drop into the water. A thick, fibrous husk covers the nut, and it is like a life belt that keeps it afloat. The coconut will float across the stormy long water and voyage across the ocean. Many plants travel by air and by wind. Their seeds whirl, they float, they fly, and they shoot through the air. Violas are a kind of pansy. They shoot their seeds through the air. Their seed pods dry and shrink in the sun. This squeezes the seeds and shoots them out one by one. The wind moves the seeds across the land. Wind breaks off dry tumbleweeds close to the ground. Then it whirls them through the air or rolls them like balls across open fields. Tumbleweeds may travel for miles before they get caught on a fence or a tree. All along the way, seeds fall from their hiding places. The stems and little spiny leaves fall onto the earth. The wind moves them. Toadstools travel long distances by air. Instead of seeds, they have spores which are so small we cannot see them without a microscope. Hundreds of spores are formed on the underside of the umbrella-like part of toadstools. These tiny spores are blown out by the wind like specks of dust. Let's see the microscope. Maple seeds have wings. They flutter in the wind and they fly like gliders through the air. When the wind is strong, they fly quite far. Milkweed seeds have silky parachutes that take them for long rides in the air. When their pods open, the seeds bail out and float on the wind. Seeds also travel in other ways. Sometimes they are taken to new places by animals or people. Squirrels carry away acorns, the seeds of the oak tree, and store them to eat later. They bury some of these acorns in the ground and forget about them. The acorns have been left in the ground, and they sometimes grow into oak trees. You see the squirrel? Another animal that oftentimes takes seeds are birds. Birds like to eat cherries and many other kind of berries that have seeds in them. They sometimes carry these seeds long distances, eat them, and then later poop them out. I know what I'm drawing. Have you ever walked through a field in the fall? Then afterwards you pick seeds up with sharp points or hooks from your clothes without even meaning to? You were helping seeds travel. Humans help seeds travel as well. It's a human sock. Here we have needlegrass, wild barley, beard grass, cocklebur, burr clover, and a beggar tick. These are all types of seeds. Every plant has its own way of traveling to reach new places. But people do not wait for plants to travel in these ways. We collect seeds and plant them where we want them to grow. People send seeds all over the world, by air, by sea, by land. Animals do too. Awesome, awesome. The end. So now that we've listened to a story on how seeds travel, I want us to get a sheet of paper. You can get a sheet of paper from anywhere in your house. It can be any size that you want. But I would fold it to make it big enough to make your illustrations pretty clear, because Miss Navarro folded it into 4 separate ways. And then I wrote 4 different ways that seeds travel. So if we start up here, I wrote seeds fall to the ground. And I drew the poppy seed plant, and I drew the seeds falling to the ground from it, right? Another way is I wrote that seeds travel. I wrote seeds float in water, just like we saw in the story, the coconuts floating in the water after they fell from the tree. So you can draw seeds floating in water coming from a palm tree or another tree. And then over here, I wrote seeds blow through the wind. So as you see, this is a flower, and its petal, the wind is blowing its seeds away, and its petal has come off as well, and the seeds are blowing through the wind. And we saw a few examples of that in the story, so you can use whichever example you'd like if you choose to use this one. Seeds blow through the wind. And then the last one I drew was birds eat seeds and poop them out. So you see I have this bird eating the cherry seeds off of the plant. And then down here I drew the same bird pooping out the seeds, which will then grow it back into a cherry plant. So these show 4 different ways that seeds travel. And you may draw 4 different ways from the story that seeds travel, or from your own research if you were like. But me and Miss Evans are so excited to see you guys' work, and we'd love to see an illustration, and you can do this in pencil Sharpie marker. Okay, we can't wait to see y'all's work.